What's up, everybody? I am the Architect 04,
And I'm Lum.
and you're riding shotgun with the Zucker Bros. We're live. Welcome back to another episode of the Zucker Bros podcast. We're talking today about something we touched on last week. We figured we talked it over and figured that it was going to be a good episode for us to go more in depth and more in detail on what it is, what it does. So today we're going to be talking about cloud-based gaming.
Oh yeah, cloud-based gaming or stream gaming.
Right, gaming on demand.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, you're not on a console. Your games are in the cloud.
Right.
So, and that's how you're streaming your 4K in the cloud, and it's not on your console.
Right. So as far as cloud-based gaming goes, it has been they've had some trials. It hasn't done very well thus far. Because they've had some issues to work out.
Interesting.
It's been a little less popular, is what I'm saying. Obviously, than the big gaming on your own machine.
Yeah.
So, but the basis of it is a company has their own servers, their own equipment, and you tap into their equipment and play the video games on their gaming, their PCs, their equipment there, and you just tap into it, stream it live to your screen, essentially using your screen as the monitor or obviously your TV, but this is what cloud gaming allows you to do is to game on the go. So essentially turning any screen possible into a high-powered gaming machine.
Right.
At that point, because it's
interesting.
The only thing that you're having to use on your end is having enough processing to display it. Right. It's just like streaming a movie or streaming TV and all the streaming services that we have now. You're streaming it to your phone, and then you can play it as you go. So,
which is really interesting. I mean, honestly, it begs the question: will we ever never need a console again? In the future? Right. And I think we talked about it a little bit. But like that could really be the future, where people don't really care. Yeah, there'll be the novelty people who want those consoles, but at the end of the day, I mean, the majority who can get their hands on, say something that's a couple $100 cheaper because you're not paying for the hardware of it, man. I mean, it's interesting.
It's enticing. It's enticing, especially for those people who don't have, like you said, that don't have the money to go out and get the machine or buy the console or that don't want to. It's like, I don't want to spend the money on this, man. It's just too much.
Right.
At least with this, like you said, it's depending on the service. I did a little research, and it looks like these streaming platforms have been around since about the early 2010s. So
go ahead. Why don't you let us know what let us know. Let me know too, because I don't really know what are each of these platforms. I know there's a couple of them.
Okay, so you've got NVIDIA has their own right now. It's probably one of the most popular. It's called GeForce Now.
Right.
They went public in 2020.
Oh,
that was their public launch for their own GeForce Now. Right, gaming, cloud-based gaming. Sony has their own system, PlayStation Now, which I think is pretty popular because they're using it on the PlayStations as well. So anybody who already owns a PlayStation, you can go through PlayStation Now.
Right.
You subscribe to the service and then essentially stream whatever games that you own. Obviously, you would buy the rights to the game at that point, but then you play it off of their servers and you stream it straight to your PlayStation,
which is nice. I actually have done that before. Played God of War through that, and it wasn't bad. Obviously, it's not. You drop some frames here and there depending on your internet, but like it was nice. Like it was playable. You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna get more into that in a little bit, but the other ones right now is obviously, and this is probably one of the more marketed is Stadia, which is owned by Google. So Stadia, I know they did a whole big marketing campaign back in 2020, and I'm sure that it got some traction because of the quarantines and everybody staying at home, and I need something to do, and I don't have these games and I don't have that, so you know what, let me give it a try. But they are one of the more expensive up front.
Right.
So Stadia is, if memory serves, it's $150 up front and then a $10 a month subscription.
Gotcha.
but you're paying up front for a Chromecast. It's like a Chromecast box essentially that you plug into the TV, and then you get the controller. So it comes with its own controller in a box.
Right.
You plug it into any TV as long as you have a Wi-Fi connection.
Right.
You can play it.
Games,
all right. So that's Stadia's cover. That covers Google and Stadia.
Right.
There's Microsoft has their own, which they had a public launch back last year in 2020 as well, which was Project XCloud.
Interesting. And that launched with the Series X?
I want to say it came out just before the Series X. It wasn't. I know they're one of the newer ones. They haven't been around
I
very
heard a
long.
little bit about it. I know that they talked about cloud gaming with like being able to stream older games or whatever on the newer consoles. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but yeah, that's...
So the good thing about Xbox as well as the PlayStation Now is with Microsoft's, as long as you have a Xbox One controller that runs off, wireless.
Right.
You can connect it to any PC or
nice
Android phone.
Oh wow.
So as long as you can connect
I've seen that, yeah.
Right. So you can already connect the controllers to like an iPad or something. If you're playing Fortnite or something on the go, you can connect your controller and game as if you were on a regular TV screen. It's just a little smaller, right? So same thing here, but xCloud is exclusive to Android.
Gotcha.
So they don't have an iOS app yet.
Right.
I'm sure it'll be coming in the future.
I'm sure that.
I mean, being the sheer number of people that have iPhones.
Yeah.
But they do offer some other little accessories that you can get with it, which allows you to pretty much snap your phone to the top of the controller.
Gotcha.
So your controllers
becomes the screen almost. Yeah.
Well, they also have two.
I've seen it. Yeah.
They have another one where it snaps to the sides of the phone, and it makes it look like you almost have a Switch device. It's just a little smaller, but you play it with all the joysticks and buttons on the sides, which is super neat.
Looks so cool.
Or like I said, you have the regular controller. It snaps to the front of it, and then your phone goes into that, and you're playing on. You have the physical controller in your hand, where you're playing on the screen just above it, which is pretty neat too.
Yeah.
So the couple others of note are Vortex.
That's one that I don't think a lot of people have heard of. I definitely haven't.
No, this one's definitely one of the lesser known.
Right.
Was Vortex. They've been around since about 2017. They offer a lot of their own. Obviously, just the same as everybody else. They're about $10 or $15 a month.
Okay.
Yeah, just the subscription, and you can play your games. I want to say they're primarily run through PCs. So any laptop, as long as you've got an internet connection, you can connect into their servers and play whatever game you've got. PC games, I think they're working on getting some console games in there as well.
That's nice.
For availability, which is nice. Another one. So this one's another bigger company is Luna from Amazon. So Amazon's going to be launching their own. It's currently in beta testing. It was in beta testing as of late last year.
Okay.
So they're in an open beta right now, and I don't believe it's released to the public just yet. They're still trying to work out the kinks.
Right.
And then you've got Jump, which is another lesser known. The cool thing about Jump is unlike the other ones that offer big titles and most of your big games.
Right.
Jump is exclusively for indie games. So the indie side scrollers and some of these retro style games and or any other indie games that don't really make it very big on some of the bigger platforms. They're solely for that. So if you're digging some retro games or some of the indie stuff that
go check that out.
Yeah, check out Jump. I want to say that all of these rank somewhere in the I want to say Jump is one of the least expensive at around $7 or $8 a month.
Oh wow.
Which isn't bad. Obviously they're offering indie games.
That's about like what Netflix was when it first dropped.
Yeah, about
Hulu or something.
A little throwback for all of you guys who don't remember, but GameFly.
Oh man, yeah.
GameFly.
And they're still going strong. I know people who still get GameFly's games. Yeah.
Really, I haven't seen GameFly in years. But I remember when GameFly first came out, and I had a PlayStation 2 at the time, and I was getting games sent to me from GameFly. I remember having to check the website, every week to see if they had the game that I wanted to play. I was like, get in there and see. Oh man, they only got 2 copies left. Oh, let me get it. And let me go ask mom and see if I can get this game. And then next thing you know, I come back 5 minutes later after I get the go ahead, and it's gone. Of course. But yeah, just a nice little throwback there. So we mentioned Jump. The last one here is Shadow. I want to say they're a newer up and coming missing.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about
Right,
them
they're not super big. They came out late 2020 as well. But like I said, as far as price points are concerned, these guys, they're all around that range of 10 to 15. I think $15 is some of the more expensive.
Gotcha.
And then we'll see what happens with Amazon's Luna. Now I'm sure there are more of them out there. I would imagine that there are probably a few that I missed, but these are the ones that I found of note that are have some of the bigger user bases right now, or that will in the future. Some of the things that I was reading up on these when I was looking into it was they're expecting this industry to grow in the next, I think, 2 or 3 years. This industry is going to be somewhere in the $300 billion range of an industry, mainly because of the mobile platform, that you'll be able to stream these games on a mobile platform and play them anywhere. Because I mean, everybody with a cell phone has a data signal. You're using your data for whatever it is, surfing the net and social media right now, whereas the people that normally are just surfing social media just because they're bored, instead they'll be able to stream a game straight to their phones. Right, so it opens up a whole new world as far as demographics concerned with gaming. So this brings the world of gaming to a lot of people who would otherwise pass it up because they don't they don't want to spend the money on the consoles. They don't want to they don't have the PC or a laptop to play the games, and you have to purchase the games, which is this. I pay $10 a month just subscription like everything else, and I get everything that I want straight to my phone, tablet, laptop. And you don't even need a super powerful laptop. The laptop's just got to be able to keep up with the frame rate, and you're good, and have a solid internet connection. So,
which, I mean, again, it's something that I feel like right now doesn't appeal to a lot of people, but will continue to appeal to more people as it gets bigger and bigger, and people maybe start making a shift. You know what I mean?
Right. So to circle back a little bit on some of the pitfalls that they've had with this is the latencies, right? So you're trying to stream a 4K video game.
Oh yeah.
Or even a 1080p at 60 frames per second over a wireless connection, and a lot of times, depending on how many people are on these networks, you just don't have the bandwidth. You don't have the bandwidth to stream this. Obviously, the machine on the other end that you're pulling from, obviously has the power for it, right? But if you can't keep that solid connection all the time, and you're dropping
frames,
you're gonna drop, like you said earlier, you're gonna drop frames, and that's a lot of what they've been dealing with is from input at the peripheral to time of movement on your screen, right? Because when you make the input and the input on the controller, then that signal's got to go all the way back to wherever it originated, and then come back to your screen, and they've had a bit of a disconnect there. So it's not like when you're gaming off your own.
It's not a one-on-one, and but I will say, having experience with the PlayStation, it's not terrible. Like I said, it's doable. If you don't have the ability to game on a console, and say you didn't have PlayStation Now, but you had something else, one of these other services, I would say it's definitely like a viable option for you to play some games.
Yeah, and to get your hands on some of the games that you wouldn't otherwise have the option for.
Now online, I feel like is maybe a different story. I don't know exactly how that would fare. Because,
you're talking about like the PUBGs and the Fortnites, when you're in a BR and you're live play,
and you're going, you're pushing your or you're pushing your screens and your max inputs and everything to the max. How is that gonna fare? You know what I mean? And are you gonna, is your game gonna skip? Are you gonna crash? I mean, and who knows? You don't. So I mean, luckily, or if you're in that situation, I don't think you're gonna be. I mean, I would hope that you would have like a solid like rig that you're.
Oh, you know sure. What I mean? Well, I would imagine. I mean, unless you're just trying to casually get a match in, you're not competing on any of these services. Not yet, anyways.
Right.
Obviously.
But I mean, doesn't. Yeah, that.
But
that
that's never stopped people before.
That's what I'm saying. There could be another division, league, or bracket where cloud gaming tournaments are a thing, where it's like.
Well, especially now, because having COVID running rampant still, and all of this stuff, and you have a lot of gamers that would normally. Well, I mean, I guess I can't say that, because in all reality, if you are competing at that kind of level, at tournament levels, you have your own rig, you have your own, especially at home.
100%.
And that's the beauty of having the technology here, and what we're doing now with gaming is you can game and play tournaments remote
from home.
Right, you don't have to go to the.
Dude, I just watched the other night there was a Fortnite tournament, and I don't watch Fortnite, but it's crazy to watch these guys play sometimes. And it was like a $15,000 tournament, and I watched one of the streamers I watched, Clicks, and his buddy Day win $15,000 just like before my very eyes, like going crazy on their, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's crazy that we have the ability to be able to do that, and he's in his own comfort of his own home playing games, you know what I mean? And he just won,
Well, and not to mention that there's a lot of these, like I've been playing in the Pokemon world for quite a while, and a lot of my Pokemon was done in tournament, but did the TCG, right? I played in person in-person tournaments, and I did the weekly leagues and that sort of stuff. But again, over the last year, I haven't had a chance because Pokemon International shut everything down.
Right.
So with all the tournaments now being postponed for indefinitely until further notice, the only option left at that point is to play online. And luckily, Pokemon had put the TCG online, so you have the Pokemon trading card game online, so you can go online and play.
Yep.
And for all the product that you buy, you get a code, and you can put the codes in online and get a pack of cards and whatnot, and open those up just as you would in person.
Right.
But the good thing that they had set that up, and before all this happened, was that now all of their tournaments have gone virtual through PTCGO.
Interesting.
Yeah, so all of their and they've only just started introducing sanctioned tournaments, where a lot of the tournaments that have been held for any kind of prizes or money were held by third parties. So Limitless, TCG, and some of these other some of the bigger YouTubers have done their own tournaments, and that sort of stuff. So but again, I mean, that's more or less, obviously you have to run the application on your device, so it's still that's a little off topic of cloud-based, but it's more just a testament, because in today's times, having the necessity of playing remote
over the internet, or
having to play from home or over Wi-Fi and other means. So that being said, cloud-based gaming in today's world is going to be huge.
I would say right now, I say it has a lot of room to grow, and like we were talking about, I don't think a lot of people really know about these companies yet. But like, I feel like when I have children and they're growing up, like, cloud-based gaming will be a lot more. It'll be bigger, I feel like, it'll be that.
Yeah, this technology right now is really in its infancy. It's not. It hasn't even. It was just given birth to. So at this point, I mean, it's got a lot of growing to do. Obviously, there's going to be some growing pains with it as it matures. But in all reality, I would imagine that cloud-based is going to be a big part of gaming in the future.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to see what the future holds for it.
Oh, for sure.
I'm excited to see what we got going on in the future of cloud-based gaming, because right now it seems like they have a lot on their plate. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So
there's a lot of hurdles, a lot of things that they're working
with
on
online
to try and work
and
out.
Blah, you know what I mean? And stuff like that.
Well, and not to mention some of the of the best places that are going to have the best connections and have where you're going to be able to get the full use of these systems are going to be the, you know, if you have a fiber optics,
at home.
internet connected, you know, it's going to be on your end right now. And that's what they're trying to is really building the infrastructure needed for that kind of gaming.
Yeah.
So right now it's a little difficult, but they're working on it. They're going to get there. So if you guys are interested in, and just so that everybody knows, we're not sponsored by any of these companies.
No.
This is just kind of what we've heard.
Never sponsored.
We're, you know, if we are, obviously we'll be transparent about it and let you guys know that we're peddling somebody else's product because they asked us to.
Yeah.
But as of right now, if you guys are interested in any of these services, this is what I found that was ranked from top to bottom. Was right now NVIDIA's GeForce is on the top. They're in the leading spot of.
So if you wanted to get into it, GeForce
right now is the way to go. Obviously Stadia is well, I can't say it's really that popular, but if you heard about it and you're like kind of been on the fence or curious about it, their biggest downfall right now is their titles. Just the number of titles that they have
on the platform
and the actual games themselves. They don't have a lot of, you know, of the big AAAs like that you would, you know, people want to play Valhalla, or they want to play some of these others, or Spider-Man, something like that. Obviously you're going to have to go through Microsoft or Nvidia or some of these other ones that are going to have the titles. That's you know, right now I'm sure they're working on it. Maybe,
of course.
I know Google has been known to ice projects in the past. If it didn't really work, they throw it on ice, and man, we'll see what happens. We'll revisit it later, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, and put their resources into
somewhere
something else.
Yeah.
So that could be a possibility, because since their big marketing campaign released, you know, there was a lot of people going, there was a lot of things going around the net about it not having titles, and they don't have it. Oh, it's not worth the money, and especially because they're one of the most expensive up front. You gotta put up $150.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, it's like, if I'm gonna spend $150 on Stadia, I might as well. I mean, if they don't have the titles that I want to play, then I'll go spend an extra $50 and get me a Nintendo Switch Lite.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, for that price, and I understand that. Yeah, I would be in the same boat if that was me.
Or I mean, you can probably even find a used PlayStation 4 or whatnot, you know what I mean, for around $200. I mean,
for sure. So and then you get the titles from PS Now, so you don't have to worry about that. And then any Windows-based PC, laptop, or whatever you have, which I would say 90% of people have some sort of Windows-based machine in their house. They should be able. They will be able to stream XCloud games, which includes a good majority of their Microsoft's titles.
Doesn't it include like a lot of the what is it?
The Game Pass,
Game Pass games.
And I do believe, if I remember correctly, that Game Pass titles. So if you subscribe to Xbox Ultimate, I want to say it gave you extra titles to play, which was good, as well as most of the games that are on Game Pass now, which is a pretty good. Oh, and another good thing about the Xbox, the XCloud system, was that it can run on Windows 7 or later. So if your machine's, you know, kind of old and outdated, and you're running Windows 7, it should be good enough to run their XCloud and play the games off of it. Again, I mean, you're essentially just using your laptop or the machine as a monitor at that point. And as long as it's got Bluetooth connectivity, you can connect a controller to it, or I want to say you can even use a mouse and keyboard as well.
Should be nice.
I mean, then you're good to go at that point. And then we'll see how Amazon. Obviously, Amazon's known for doing big things. When they do something, they've got a lot of money backing them.
Oh yeah.
They make
Jeff
a ton of money every day.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm sure just about anybody watching this has bought or does buy things on Amazon on a regular basis.
Oh yeah.
I mean, how can you not, right?
Yeah.
So, but I would imagine to look out for that one. That one's probably going to be a contender when it comes to it. So,
well, nice. And that's what, top like 3 right there, I would say. I mean,
3 or 4, top 4.
Yeah, I would say top 4, because PlayStation, I would say that comes in third.
I would say that yeah, PlayStation would probably come in third. The good thing about one of the things that I did notice about the PlayStation Now was that they had, if you want the backwards compatibility, and that might be a part of why they didn't do a lot of backwards compatibility when they released the PS5, was because of PlayStation Now. A lot of those older games, you go through PlayStation Now and you can play them there rather than making the console backwards compatible. You can go on through PlayStation Now on your PS5 and play whatever it is that they have uploaded.
Makes sense too. I mean, since they already have the infrastructure in place, you know, they have it in the game or in their console already. Right. Go ahead and
I know in when we did the PlayStation versus Xbox, that was one of the big gripes, was that Sony didn't make the PS5 backwards compatible. Right. That you couldn't play PS4 games or older games on the PS5. But having learned that their streaming PS Now service offers a lot of those older titles, it makes more sense. Yeah. Right. So while it may, but that also comes at another monthly cost.
And I mean, I personally also heard that the PlayStation 5 has some issues going on. So that could be for another video. But that's we'll have to look into that.
Yeah, we're definitely have to look into that one, because give people the deets. Yeah, let you guys know what's going on out there.
Yeah, for sure. That's very interesting. All right, and do you have any other points you want to talk about for cloud-based gaming?
I think we hit them all. I think we covered a good lot of stuff there. You know, if you guys are into it, give it a look. You know, another one that I guess the last one that would probably make top 5, and when I want to round this list out a little bit, would be Jump. Okay. And I like Jump because of the indie. Yeah, the honorable mention. Honorable mention here would be Jump, because they're showing that love to the indie gamer, right? The indie scene. You know, the indie developers.
I dig that vibe.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to give the little guys some recognition every now and then. You know, these guys aren't backed by big money.
And the thing about it is, if you look at a lot of these indie game developers, they have a huge cult following.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
And it's, I mean, some of them aren't like huge like AAA huge, but they're huge in the respects.
Well,
you know
right,
they're cult following.
So they have very loyal fans.
Right,
very people that are looking for their stuff.
They pay like Patreons just to get their games. And
for sure. As they should. I mean, and these guys, they deserve, and not to mention, it's always been really hard to find good indie games. Like, they're out there, and I know Microsoft has some indie stuff on their platform, and I'm sure PlayStation does. But if you have this one developer that you really love, and you want to play their games, and they may not be available, and it's super hard to find. You got to scour the internet and finally come up with
a couple. So
yeah, what do you got?
Puppet Combo is one of them.
Okay.
Something Corey Kenshin plays a lot of their games, and so does Dashi. He's played a lot of their games. They're a small horror game company, and it's one guy, I believe, one developer, and he's put out like a slew of like games and trilogies, but they're all horror, like PlayStation 2 style horror video games. So the graphics aren't like the best, you know what I mean? Sure. But they're meant to be that way, and there's a lot of detail in it. So it's like super detail oriented, and all of the games have really interesting stories. They're not just like your normal like killer, type of game, but they're always very interesting. It's something that I want to bring to my channel for sure at some point. But
yeah, when you talk about that like PlayStation 2 era, one of the horror games that comes to mind is Silent Hill.
Yep,
that one was terrifying. Oh yeah, even with the graphics as terrible,
brother. That's why I cannot wait until we can get you a PC, because we'll have to do some gaming together, where we play some horror games together or something.
Yeah, for sure.
That would be fun.
Yeah, and playing another one of, and this was the Xbox 360 era, but Dead Space.
Oh, Dead Space.
Dead Space was another terrifying game.
Very terrifying, very good. I loved that series. I played it growing up. I played through the trilogy, and my goodness, yeah. Jump scares after jump scares.
Oh, for sure.
Very
And
terrifying.
Even when
Just
you knew
eeriness.
even when you knew they were coming.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't matter.
Still freaked
It
you
still
out,
didn't
man.
matter.
Just-
It didn't. They
Nah.
yeah. Those guys did
Love that game, yeah.
a great job with that one.
Yeah,
Now, that
for
was an
sure.
EA game, Dice, right?
I believe so. I
think so.
I believe.
I know it was an EA game. I'm not sure who
who the actual.
yeah, the actual developer was. I want to say it was Dice, but yeah, great game.
Yeah.
I know there's some of the newer ones. I know you've been playing Phasmophobia.
Yeah, Phaz has been good. It's very scary, but it's after you've played it a while, because you're playing the same houses and stuff over and over again. You kind of get desensitized to the and I mean, it just depends too. If you've got killed before by whatever, then you're after once or twice. I mean, you're kind of desensitized to it. But it's fun. I'd say that is something that I would want you to play and get into, and just try to play it and see kind of where that is, and because it's fun. But yeah, it's not like so scary where I'm like freaked out screaming and stuff.
Now, so we played the other day. We played together when we played Dead by Daylight, and I want to say I didn't like the way the actual gameplay itself. I wasn't a fan, but I will say that the characters and the killers that they put in the game were terrifying. They were scary.
Yeah.
I mean, the gameplay itself it kind of took away from it. But when the killer's running around, and he gets close, and you don't want to get caught. Like, I felt my heart race a little bit.
Of course.
I stepped up a couple beats, man, because you've got this guy running around with an axe or chainsaw, and he's just you can hear him hanging people on a hook, and it's brutal, man. That's a brutal game.
Right, and I mean, that's one of those games where I can't stress it enough. It doesn't give the survivors enough to get away.
I definitely agree with
it's
that.
very much a game.
It's a one-sided. It's a single-sided game, man.
Yeah.
If you're the killer, you're almost guaranteed to win.
Like,
I mean, I'm
much.
sure. There
are
people that are out there that can get away, and they know the tricks. And my 10-year-old son managed to thwart me a few times when I was a killer.
Right.
Just shining me in the face with a flashlight, and I'm like, go blind, and then they run away, and you can't find them. And so there are strategies, obviously, that they give the survivors to try and get away.
Right.
But I mean, in all reality, I really do think you're right. But it is one-sided.
It's very one-sided.
It's heavily sided on the killers.
The killer, you're first of all, you can't run. You're stuck to walking pretty much, and
more or less.
And the killer's like running after you pretty much.
Oh yeah, the killers move crazy
so
fast. Yeah.
So, but it was pretty fun nonetheless.
No, we had a good time.
I had a decent time. So.
But I don't think it's something that I'll continue to play. Just not. Again, it's just not my speed.
I think that's about it for that though.
For sure.
We're gonna wrap it up here.
Yeah.
And I think next week, what do we got on the agenda for next week? I think we talked about it a little bit. Well, don't worry about that. We'll go ahead and just figure that out.
Yeah, we'll keep you guys posted. We'll let you know. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook to keep an eye out for what we got coming up.
Please.
We'll put it up there. I know we haven't been super active lately, but
follow the Twitter.
Yep. Yeah. If you liked hanging with us and you liked what was going on, what we're talking about, and you like the conversation, hit the subscribe button for us. Go ahead and subscribe up if you want to.
Launch that like button for us.
There you go. If you want to hear more of us ramble on and talk about some random stuff in a mix with probably some information you guys want to have.
Oh yeah.
Let us know.
All links will be in the description, guys. We love you guys so much. We'll see you in the next video. As always, peace.
See you.